October Red. I'm here at the weigh-in day for Wardley versus Clark. And I'm back with Johnny Nelson, who doesn't like to answer his phone anymore. How are you, Johnny?
Number one, I'm all right, thank you very much. Number two, you're usually on camera with me. You're looking a little short right now, so I'm assuming that's the reason why you're not on camera. But it's cool. I'm all right, thank you very much. You don't ring me.
I don't want to get up my call list and screenshot them into the video when I edit it at home, but we'll leave it there. Right, this week, Johnny, there's been a lot going on, and I saw you giggling on the live feed yesterday for the presser, saying that Fraser's pissed because he's been put in the away hotel. He's not at the main hotel. What was that about?
Well, I like that. I like. Fraser needs to have a spiky edge about him. Fraser needs to have. He's a nice guy, Fraser, but I know it's a bit of a road man, you know, from the camera. I know that, and he needs to bring that to this fight. And what isn't in his favour is his professional experience. It's not in his favour, so he needs to bring some road man and mixed with the experience and pedigree that he has, the boxing ability he has, the size he has to this fight. This is a beatable. This is a winnable fight for him. But for him, he has to show something nobody's seen yet as a professional. Whereas Fabio Wardley's already shown. That's why he's at the level he's at. So it's for Fraser that has to show us something that we hope he's got. You know, we assume he's got. You know, he's turned pro where we think he's got. So it's just, I like that. And when he was talking, you know, I was the same. I ain't staying here. It's a lovely hotel. It's right next door. I'm staying across the way, and I was complaining about, man, it's the right train. He said, yeah, me too. I said, you ain't staying here? He went, nah. This time I'm thinking, Fabio's staying here. But as a fighter, you want to feel as though your people, your promoters, looking after you, giving you the best. You know, so I thought, I ain't even telling him that. So we'll probably see this after the fight. But maybe that's a good thing. You know, Marvin Hagler used to stay in a dirty little bedsit before a fight just to keep him real, keep him grounded. So maybe that's good. Give him a bit of spike on.
I get it, and I'm sure he's not in a terrible bedsit, and I'm sure his hotel is more than standard, and he's good enough for Fraser. But what it is from speaking to fighters from past gone, they've said there were certain mind games. If they were the away fighter, they'd put them in certain hotels. They'd keep them awake at night. They'd do all of this crazy stuff. And from me looking at it from the outside point of view, as I always do, Johnny, I'm a fan first. It does look like Fabio's the home fighter.
He does. He looks like... No, he does. He knows how he's been treated, how he's been prepped, how the surroundings have been put. Yeah, he does. And so...
Why, though?
I don't know because, listen, I've been... The many times when I fought, I've been in some dirty little hotels. Yeah, my hotel door had been banged on 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, to the point where you're paranoid about the people in the kitchen, the food they give you, so you're going outside the hotel to buy your food or eating elsewhere. So these things happen in our game. So is it naivety? Is it part of the deal that's in this? I don't know, but I personally would have made sure Fabio felt like the B-side, you know, subtly. I'd have personally made my fight feel like, listen, you keep doing this, expect this every time. This kind of, that's what I personally do. But you've got to go for experience to get wisdom, and maybe they're just going through experience not to do that stuff again.
Another fight on the cards, which is obviously, these are fighters that are close to me, and I guess that's why I'm starting off with them. We've got Ben Whittaker. Ben Whittaker, once again, the live feeds have been brilliant for this. You know, he stood up there and, you know, the conversation came out about Andy Clark being with the showboating. Yeah, brilliant stuff. And it's something that we can talk about. Look, my opinion, and please feel free to shoot me down because we've all got opinions. Ben Whittaker has his style. Some don't like it. Some see it as disrespectful, and they've voiced that, which they're entitled to do. But what is also an entitlement is for Ben to address it, which he did. But once again, it seems as if the audience have said, how dare he confront people saying things about him so he can't say nothing?
No, so it works in two ways. And Brendan always be very smart about how he said it. He said, when people said he's awkward, he's unorthodox. When people say, when people talk about things, it's how you look at it, it's how you approach it. So once someone says, well, that's disrespectful, they're giving you their opinion on how they interpret it. Now Ben's saying, no, this is what I'm doing. If it comes across that way, the easy answer is, I'm sorry you feel that way. And that's how it comes across. I'm not going to change my behaviour, how I act. I'm doing it for this reason. If you want to read it differently, that's cool. Ben needs to keep doing what Ben's doing, because what he's doing is he's evoking emotion. Emotion being love or hate. But one way he's evoking emotion. Even that interview yesterday, he's evoking emotion. And so you're going to watch him to see maybe get knocked out, or you're going to watch, like you used to with Naz, people be there wanting to see the entrance more than they did the fight. And so what he's created something that these other fighters need to, if you're going to do it, play the role, play it well. You see my man when he's out on camera, he's dapper, he's on it, he does what he has to do, he plays his role, plays it well. So there was nothing wrong in what he did, and there was nothing wrong what Andy said, because he was just saying what he saw, and how he interpreted it. There was nothing wrong in what either of them said, and if Ben had an opportunity to address it, why wouldn't he? He's not being true to himself if he didn't.
And that's what we like to see, because too often or not, fighters work towards a model, a role, and then later on in their career, when they try and step out of that role, step out of that mould that they've built for themselves, it's a shock, it's a horror to us, the fans, because we're like, well, where's this come from? He wasn't doing that before. But Ben sort of like set the tone from the beginning with who he is, his style, his mannerisms.
I don't know if that's what Ben's like as an individual. I gather it is. He understands, and you can do that if you surround yourself with your safe people. You can be whoever you want out there, because the people you trust, love, and respect, they're there. They're the ones that are important. So you don't care what he, she, or whatever's thinking. And I think Ben's done that. Whenever you see Ben, you see this big shot of his dad's there. You see his girls there. Ben's controlling his business. So he don't really care if you're nice to him or if you're nasty to him, because he's got his people that they are important to him. And so to me, I think he's doing the right thing, for him. These people are there to protect him, give him that comfort blanket, and so I actually get that, and I get the reasons behind that.
Another thing I wanted to touch on was obviously the surprise, or not such a surprise, fighter that came up on stage. And I've got to say thank you very much to Rob Tebbett, because he was straight on it. He was on X giving us the fighter details. And I thought, oh, I recognise that name. And I looked, and that fighter had been in my stories since I'd put up the post with Ben Whittaker. So he's obviously looking at whoever's around Ben. He obviously turns up yesterday, but when I clicked on his profile yesterday, I saw that you follow him.
Yeah, I do follow him. And you know what he did yesterday, good.
Was that what I'm getting at? Was that orchestrated?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I think good, because now everybody knows who he is. The people that are watching that, he's got on people's radar. And he needs to keep doing that. He needs to dog my man. He needs to dog Ben. He needs to make an arse of himself. Box whoever Ben's boxed, straight after him. It was like Clubber Lang all over again. He's got to chase this. If you want to make a difference, if I'm saying Ben's got to do this, and what Ben's doing is brilliant, makes you love him or loathe him, he's got your attention. That's exactly what he did, to get your attention, to get us talking about him, because otherwise we wouldn't be talking about him. You wouldn't know anything about him. He's trying to jockey himself into a position of a fight. And that has taken him one step closer to a possible fight happening. And if he keeps doing it, keeps making an arse of himself, he'll not just jockey himself into a position of fight, he'll get paid for it. So I don't knock him for what he did. I actually think, well, good on him, because I'm for all fighters monetizing themselves, making themselves into a business. So my man, he might not be like that on a personal level, but he knows he's had to do it for his career. So I don't knock him at all. I actually went outside and said, well done, man. Well done, you got to do what you got to do. It doesn't mean you either love or loathe one over the other. What I'm saying is, he's his business. Ben does a brilliant job. And so people can't be offended when other people do that.
How did he get in? Because I thought the media event was just for media only. How was he able to get in as a fighter?
You're not seeing them three security men try and push a mic, and they're like...
No, but how did he actually get into the event? Because it was media only yesterday.
He got in. He rushed the door. But remember, when we're inside, everybody's inside on the doors. My man rushed the door. Good. Next time you need to bring a crew. Rush it again. Don't get violent. Don't get stupid. Get loud. Be disruptive. Good. That's what you got to do. Fighters have got to be different. Do something different to stand out. That stood out. You know what I mean? That stood out.
And finally, one of the things I want to touch on, we could go through the whole card, but there's an article that I read in the Times. Forgive me, I forget the reporter's name off the top of my head, but he was talking about, obviously, as Frank and Eddie Hearn are joining forces, they're working together after this, decades of feuding. And there's some mention in there about, is Sky going to continue with boxing, which for me was quite sad to see. So for the fans that, Sky Sports is part of British culture, is there anything that you can say to that to reassure us that Sky Sports is going to stay in boxing and stay in British boxing too?
Well, I've heard these rumours for years, and 10 years later, the rumour's still rolling on. Sky has done boxing for 35, 40 years. They're the most powerful platform out there. If that is the case, I've not heard it. If that is the case, it's the first I've heard of it. And of course, you're going to get people that are going to try and play skullduggery, set the seed, rock the foundations, and that's what they're going to do. And until Sky tell me otherwise, that's the first time I've heard of it. But remember, you've got Frank and Eddie working together. And Frank, when I was fighting for Frank, said to me, Johnny, sometimes you got to work with people you don't like. And that, when I see them two together, I think those words ring out to me, Frank. And everybody, not just me, you're sat there thinking, as soon as one of those get the chance of stabbing the other one in the back, they're going to do it. So it's a matter of time. So we can sit back and watch how this story unfolds. So it's great that they're working together because everybody else is benefiting from the fights they're putting on. We're like watching a car crash thinking, oh my God, we shouldn't be watching what we're watching. But now we've got these two working together. But everybody's thinking about what I've just said. You're all thinking who's going to do first. But it's nice they're working together for the time being.
I would like to see some boxer fighters, Sky Sports. Obviously, I know that you've got rights to broadcast the Fury fight with Usyk, which congratulations on that. So we can choose where we want to watch the fight. The British audience have got a choice how they want to watch the fight and who they want to give their £20 to, just shy of. But when could we expect some of the boxer fighters, starting to get in there and perform in the future on their cards, on the Turkey cards?
I think it's a matter of time. I think how they're doing it in Saudi Arabia, I think His Majesty, as far as he's concerned, as far as if he wants it, it's happening. So it doesn't matter if Frank's in the driving seat, it's the driving seat, or Eddie's in the driving seat. If His Majesty wants that, that's what he gets. So that. At the moment, they're dipping their toe in the water. They're trying to be the mecca of boxing. The way they're going, that possibly could happen. So don't rule it out that will never happen. You'll see some boxer fighters on the bill. But that's just a matter of time.
And if you was to put any of your fighters, say, against a Queensberry fighter, against a Matchroom fighter, if you was in that position to be part of this 5x5, what fighters would you put in at what weight and why? I'll leave it there as a final one. Light heavyweight, who would you put in?
It's his business. Now Ben's obviously a great example. Adams obviously. I'm trying to think. I'm just thinking. Dan's obviously a great example, light heavyweight. And there are fights there that can be made. There's fights there that are intriguing. But when I see this lineup put out there, Eddie, Frank. Are they going to put their golden goose on the line in this tournament? Will ego kick in and think, well, I don't want to put mine in there because I've got bigger plans for him and I can't afford to lose it, afford him to lose the X, Y, Z. So it's just, we want to see how this is planned out. We want to see which fighters are putting. Are they really going to put the headliners in, the best of the best in, or are they going to put their B team in, like Manchester United do sometimes, or whatever when they've got a team playing out. So let's just see, and we can then speculate. When they say, yeah, this is who I'm putting in, then we're going to speculate. Because there's always room for speculation. People say, you're only doing that because of X, Y, Z. So let's just wait and see.
Do you think there could be conversations going ahead with His Excellency and Ben Shalom and you guys to get some of your fighters on their cards too?
I do. And that's what I'm saying. It's a case of, like Ben, for instance, like Richard Riakpo, for instance. There's no reason why that wouldn't happen down the line. There's no reason why it wouldn't happen. And it's something I could see happening down the line. So it's just a matter of when.
Excellent. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Try and answer your phone when I do ring.
You never ring me. You never ring me.
And stop lying. But always a pleasure. until the next time.
That's our role, baby. It's our role.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.